India's External Affairs Ministry. There are two leading news stories that we are bringing to you. The MEA, in the first big breaking story that we are bringing to you, is that the MEA has confirmed that the External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, will be paying a visit. In fact, he'll be leading India's delegation to the SCO summit, which will be taking place in Pakistan on 15th and 16th of October. The other big story that's coming in from the External Affairs Ministry is that India has also slammed Pakistan's red carpet welcome for radical Islamic preacher Zakir Naik. Remember, he arrived in Islamabad on Monday, and soon after he has been on a very busy schedule as far as Pakistan is concerned. We already know that Zakir Naik has been an extremely problematic figure for India. He is also one of the most wanted men in India for, in fact, somebody who's held responsible for communal disharmony in the country and also for money laundering. India for a very long time, as we all know, has been trying to extradite Zakir Naik, but our efforts have been met in vain. Nonetheless, the interesting other turn is that India will now be very much part of the SCO summit. Remember, this is going to be historical of sorts because the last time the country's foreign minister visited Pakistan was back in the year 2015, and that was the late Sushma Swaraj. And this time around, India's delegation will be headed by Dr. S. Jaishankar, and he will be leading that delegation to the SCO summit that's going to be taking place on the 15th and 16th of October in Pakistan. On that note, let's listen in to the reactions that have come in from the External Affairs Ministry.
Yes, we have seen reports that he is being fitted in Pakistan. He has been warmly welcomed there. It is not surprising for us that an Indian fugitive, a fugitive from Indian law, justice, has received a high-level welcome in Pakistan. It is something which is disappointing, let me say, condemnable, but at the same time, as I said, it's not surprising. Now, as to what passport he went there, I am not very clear. What papers he went there, we are not very clear. But let me also remind you that when the Prime Minister of Malaysia was here, this particular issue was addressed. As far as our participation in SCO is concerned, we have just announced that the External Affairs Minister will be leading India's delegation to the SCO summit meeting. As the program develops, the visit develops, we'll keep you informed of this particular of it.
All right, Siddhant Mishra has been tracking both the stories for us. He joins me live on the newscast. Siddhant, important to highlight as far as Dr. S. Jaishankar's visit to Pakistan is going to be concerned, how monumental this will be in terms of India's own diplomatic move and our geopolitical balance with other leading countries like China and Russia, who are equally part of that forum.
Well, that's right, Akanksha. Look, it should not be seen as some Indian leader, Indian foreign minister is going to Pakistan to hold bilateral talks with Pakistan, or perhaps to resume talks with Pakistan. No, there is nothing of that sort going to happen in Islamabad. I mean, that is what my sources are indicating in Ministry of External Affairs. All Mr. Jaishankar is going to Pakistan is in the spirit to attend the multilateral event SCO. And in SCO, countries like China and Russia are the members, and India is a very integral and important part of SCO. And in that spirit, he is making this visit to Islamabad. My sources are also indicating that it's going to be a one-day affair to Islamabad by EAM Jaishankar. And perhaps also something which one needs to highlight at this point in time is that External Affairs Minister has already made India's position very, very clear at United Nations General Assembly, while speaking at United Nations General Assembly. And in fact, that is the official position of India. So it looks very unlikely that there is going to be any bilateral talk with Pakistan, or for that matter, any talks to revive SAARC, because there were many questions asked today in the press briefing to Mr. Jaiswal that are we looking at some possibility of reviving SAARC, any discussion on reviving SAARC. As you know, Akanksha, both Yunus and Shehbaz Sharif are pushing to revive SARC. So even there is no such plans to discuss the revival of SARC. All Mr. Jaishankar is going to Pakistan for a day to attend the SCO summit. To maybe he can hold bilateral talks with his Russian counterpart, Chinese counterpart, and Iranian counterpart. There are all other countries in SCO grouping which are friends to India. So he may hold bilateral talks with those countries, but there's no plan of holding talks with Pakistan.
And you know, when you talk about having bilaterals with, say, a Beijing or a Moscow over there in this entire platform, important to highlight the kind of significance that actually India places on SCO, and that is something we will also be deep diving in just a bit. In fact, I have some breaking inputs coming in. These are inputs that have been shared by News 18's Mr. Manoj Gupta. In fact, he's accessed some inside details of what the SCO meet could be like for Dr. S. Jaishankar. We all are aware now, as Siddhant was also sharing, that there will be no bilateral meets as of now. That's what the agenda is. But perhaps Dr. S. Jaishankar's visit could be a lot like Bilawal Bhutto's own visit to the SCO summit when India held the entire summit in Goa. Let's quickly go back to Siddhant. Siddhant, I think India has made it amply clear that as of now, there is no plan for any bilateral. And just because Pakistan is playing host to the SCO summit doesn't mean that it is sort of taking away India's own commitment from the SCO summit.
Well, absolutely, and in fact, this is almost in a decade that an Indian Prime Minister is visiting, Indian Foreign Minister, I beg your pardon, is visiting Pakistan. It was in 2015, Sushma Swaraj went to Pakistan to attend Heart of Asia Summit, and then she also held bilateral talks with Pakistanis. In fact, in 2016, Rajnath Singh went to Pakistan to attend SARC Summit, and later Hardeep Singh Puri attended Kartarpur Corridor event. So these three leaders have made it to Pakistan in last 1 decade. But Sushma Swaraj was the last foreign minister to visit Pakistan, and perhaps this visit of EAM Shankar in that regard is very, very significant. But there is not going to be any bilateral meeting with Pakistan, and in fact, Mr. Manoj Gupta is also telling us that no talks on Kashmir in any case is going to take place there. Pakistan is the host of SCO, and in the spirit of the commitment to the multilateral summit, India is attending it at a foreign minister's level, and foreign minister will lead the delegation. This will be similar visit like Bilawal Bhutto visited India last time around in Goa, when India was the host for the SCO grouping.
Siddhant, also to give it sort of flesh out this entire news story a bit more, important to also sort of shed light on the fact that India is playing a very key role, especially when it comes to a SARC grouping like SCO as well. And we also know the timing of this entire meet is going to be very crucial. We are seeing this happen amid rising global conflict, whether it is the situation in West Asia or even Eastern Europe. Henceforth, extremism, terrorism, economic stability, these become matters of utmost importance for New Delhi.
Well, absolutely. Akanksha, talking from the foreign policy perspective, then this visit of Mr. Jaishankar is very significant because he will get a chance to speak to his Russian counterpart, his Chinese counterpart, Iranian counterpart. Iran had also become the member of SCO. So, it's an opportunity, and given the geopolitical situation right now, India is perhaps being seen as a peacemaker. Prime Minister Modi has spoken about peace and dialogue and diplomacy. So with Russians, we can speak about that. As far as Chinese counterpart of EAM Jaishankar is concerned, then we all know that 75% of disengagement is already over at WMCC level and at the corps commander level. Both sides are meeting for the disengagement. So in that regard, the meeting with the Chinese counterpart, Chinese foreign minister, is again very, very significant. Iran foreign minister will also be represented. We all know what's happening in the Middle East. India and Iran are good friends. So it will again be an opportunity to understand and Iranian perspective on what's happening in the Middle East and how peace can be achieved as far as the going conflict in the Middle East is concerned. So, other than Pakistan part, it's a very significant and important summit level talks which will take place in Islamabad, and India will try to contribute to its best, and also perhaps uses that platform as an opportunity to speak to the other countries and perhaps to know their viewpoint, and also the issues of bilateral issues can be discussed with them.
All right, and I want to quickly have a word from you, Siddhant, about how India has now slammed Pakistan for rolling out that red carpet welcome to Zakir Naik. What has been shared as far as the information coming out from the External Affairs Ministry is concerned?
Well, Akanksha, this is for the first time that External Affairs Ministry has accepted that during the visit of Malaysian PM to India, this particular issue was raised as far as extradition of Mr. Zakir Naik is concerned. Having said that, MEA has also condemned Pakistan hosting Mr. Zakir Naik, and MEA says, and I quote, "We are not surprised that a fugitive from Indian justice has received a high-level welcome in Pakistan. It is disappointing and condemnable, but as I said, not surprising," unquote. So a very strong statement coming from the government of India,
Siddhant,
because
I'm
Zakir Naik
to interrupt you there. I'll have to
money.
quickly move over to one of our guests. In fact, I'm joined in by Lieutenant General KJ Singh, who's joining me on the phone line. Lieutenant General, I'd first, in fact, like your thoughts on the fact that India's External Affairs Minister will be leading the delegation to Pakistan as far as SCO summit is concerned, and how monumental and defining is this going to be for India's geopolitics, considering it's the first time we'll have a foreign minister on Pakistani soil since the year 2015.
See, Akansha, for a long time, we have pursued a policy of not talks with terror. But then there are situations where SCO summit has been scheduled in Pakistan. Last time, we were forced to do an online kind of a summit. So here, our vital interests are affected, and SCO is increasingly getting into Chinese hands. So it is important for us to go there and establish guardrails around our interests, because we have defining and seminal interests in Central Asia. So I welcome this move. It's a bold step. It is little departure from our stated policy. But then there are situations in international relations, and I hope Pakistan, which is down and out, which is literally on the ventilator, utilizes this opportunity to repair relationships, because India has great potential to help Pakistan.
And that's, General Singh, important to also highlight is this yet another example of India's faith in multilateralism and multipolarity, as has been time and again reiterated by our External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar. Because remember, even though Pakistan's playing host to the SCO, it's again only underscoring India's commitment towards the SCO, where perhaps its own diplomacy with China and Russia matters more.
You are spot on, because we were being told by other Central Asian nations which are part of SCO that you are not taking part, and China is having its way. So India has those interests, and it's a very welcome and good move. And I hope, knowing Dr. S. Jaishankar as some kind of a father or proponent of plurilateralism, this is a wonderful opportunity to articulate India's position, Akansha.
Lieutenant General Singh, thank you so much for sharing your precious insights here on Nation at 5. With that, let me quickly go back to Siddhant. Siddhant, I'd like to now shift the focus a bit to the issue of Zakir Naik. First, we've seen how India's repeated requests to Malaysia, even Interpol, have been declined. Interestingly, the External Affairs Ministry has also hinted that this time around, when the Malaysian Prime Minister was in India in the month of August, this was a request that was also taken up with him. What is it that you've learnt from today's meet?
Well, that's right. So this is for the first time that Indian side has accepted that when Malaysian Prime Minister was on the state visit to India, at that time during the summit level talks, Zakir Naik issue was raised with the Malaysian side. Before this, there was no appropriate or specific response that we got from the government of India when this question was put up during the press briefing. So this is one takeaway from today's briefing. Second and the most important one is, yes, you're right. MEA has condemned the way Pakistan is welcoming the Indian fugitive, and also, when MEA was asked about on what passport, what document Zakir Naik is travelling to Pakistan, because Zakir Naik's passport was revoked by the Indian authorities after he fled from the country. To which MEA said that they don't have any specific information about the passport he's holding and on the document that he's using to travel to Pakistan. So these were the big takeaways from Minister of External Affairs' briefing today. But the fact is, Akanksha, that Zakir Naik is the fugitive. Many money laundering cases have been slapped against him. There is also cases against him for delivering free speech, and perhaps he's being now seen as the new stooge of ISI, which ISI will use in future against India. But also, Kanksha, the big question here is that when Indian Prime Minister meets the CEO of the semiconductor companies and the big companies, it tells about the vision of India and its Prime Minister. When Pakistani Prime Minister meets the hate preacher and person like Zakir Naik, it tells the vision of Shehbaz Sharif and his country, where they want to lead their country.
Right, very rightly said. In fact, that's also a commentary on Pakistan's own sort of hardline posturing when they are welcoming a preacher like Zakir Naik. Many thanks to you, Siddhant, for sharing all those breaking inputs and putting that entire story into perspective for us. In fact, we have now breaking inputs coming in from Haryana. Remember, Haryana is just a day away from its final phase of polling, and Kumari Selja, in an exclusive interview, in fact, has gone on to talk about how the Congress High Command will be the deciding factor when it comes to the chief ministerial phase, and that ups and downs will continue. Nonetheless, the Congress High Command will not ignore and cannot ignore Kumari Selja. Listen in to what she had to say.
Do you feel let down कि आपको चीफ मिनिस्टर कैंडिडेट नहीं डिक्लेयर किया गया इस बार?
No. Let's put that in the right perspective. चीफ मिनिस्टर कैंडिडेट कांग्रेस पार्टी ऑपोजिशन में बाय एंड लार्ज नहीं डिक्लेयर करती है, किसी को भी नहीं करती. आपने देखा अभी भी नहीं किया है, बाय एंड लार्ज नहीं करते हैं.
एंड देन इट रिजल्ट्स इन लॉट ऑफ स्पेकुलेशन, जैसे कर्नाटका में हुआ था, डीके शिव कुमार होंगे या फिर सिद्धरामैया होंगे. राजस्थान में इट वाज गहलोत वर्सेस सचिन. व्हाट अबाउट इन हरियाणा? आर यू स्टिल अ प्लेयर?
व्हाट डू यू मीन स्टिल?
आर यू अ प्लेयर फॉर इवन इफ द पार्टी विंस? Is it possible that you could be a chief minister candidate?
See, that only High Command will have to answer. Only High Command will have to decide. There are few people who would be in the consideration zone, and I think Selja would be there.
For chief ministership?
अब देखो, सीनियोरिटी में, काम में, इन सब चीज़ों में नाम और पॉलिटिक्स और ये पॉलिटिकल डिसीजंस ही तो हाई कमांड देखेगा. तो ऐसे उसमें सैलजा को हाई कमांड नज़रअंदाज तो नहीं करेगा.
कांग्रेस से थोड़ा बहुत नाराज लग रही हैं आप?
कांग्रेस से नाराज नहीं होती. देखो, बात ये है कि पार्टी में कई तरह की बातें होती हैं, कई तरह की सिचुएशंस होती हैं. तो सिचुएशंस के और कई बार इन चीज़ों में होता है कि कोई चीज़ पसंद आए ना आए, कुछ निराशा हो, कभी खुशी हो, तो ये परिस्थितियाँ तो चलती रहती हैं.
पर आपके साथ
मेरा भी बहुत लंबा समय हो गया, अब 35 साल से ज़्यादा हो गए हैं
जी,
तो हर तरह की सिचुएशन देखी है.
1988 से आप हैं पार्टी में, बट डू यू फील दैट बीइंग वन ऑफ द स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट एंड मोस्ट एक्सपीरियंस लीडर्स इन द पार्टी फ्रॉम द स्टेट, आपको सम्मान नहीं दिया जा रहा?
नहीं, सम्मान तो है, उसमें कोई बात नहीं है. पोजीशन भी है, सम्मान भी है. कई बार कुछ चीज़ें हो जाती हैं जिसमें लोगों को महसूस होता है कि पूरा सम्मान नहीं मिला.
लोगों को मतलब किसे?
लोग, परसेप्शन.
आपके जो फॉलोअर्स हैं उन्हें लगता है कि आपको सम्मान नहीं मिला?
हाँ, परसेप्शन होती है ना, राजनीति तो परसेप्शन का ही गेम है.
All right, Shireen Elizabeth is the one who, in fact, brought us that exclusive conversation with the Congress MP. Let's quickly go across to Sharon, who joins me on the phone line. Sharon, why is it that Kumari Selja is so confident that the Congress High Command can't afford to ignore her when they are deciding the chief ministerial face for Haryana?
Well, one is because she is very close to the Gandhi family. Rahul Gandhi, in fact, has always been supportive of Kumari Shelja. Even during the CEC meeting, there has, in fact, been a couple of times when complaints were raised by Kumari Shelja about the Huda camp being dominant. That was also, in fact, looked into by Rahul Gandhi. Apart from that, she's also close to not just Rahul Gandhi, but also to Sonia Gandhi. And secondly, she has been saying that for past 10 years, she and her supporters have been working on ground, and all the non-Jat vote is something that she is bringing to the table, is the big claim that is coming in from Kumari Shelja. So just a day before Haryana goes to poll, clearly the allegations that were made by the BJP about the infighting is once again out in the open, where Shelja says that I can't be ignored because I am one of the senior leaders and the party leadership will not ignore me, is what she is hoping for. So, of course, we have to see how it goes from here. First of all, how the Congress will be performing. Secondly, if they win, who is going to be the CM face, because all knives, it seems, will be out once if and when Congress forms the government.
All right, many thanks to you, Sharon, for bringing in all those inputs on that news story. And with that, it's time to slip into a quick break. We'll be back with more breaking inputs. Stay tuned to Nation at 5.
هذا العقاب آت حتما بإذن الله تعالى، ولن نتحدث كثيرا، فالكلام غدا لسيد هذا العقاب آت حتما بإذن الله تعالى ولن نتحدث كثيرا فالكلام غدا لسيد
Welcome back. Now, let's begin with our focus on Andhra and Telangana. Well, remember, amid the entire Tirupati Laddu Rao, we are now learning that Andhra Pradesh Deputy Chief Minister Pavan Kalan has in fact taken a jibe at Tamil Nadu's Deputy CM Udayanidhi Stalin. We are in fact learning that Andhra Pradesh Deputy Chief Minister, who embarked on a 3-day visit to Tirumala as part of his 11-day penance towards Lord Venkateshwara, has in fact issued a stern warning to Udayanidhi Stalin over his controversial remarks on Sanatan Dharma. This is, of course, sharpening the attack further, saying that those who are targeting Sanatan Dharma will be destroyed. And in fact, there's been a war of words because Udayanidhi Stalin and the DMK spokesperson have also responded. They've gone, in fact, to talk about how casteism and, in fact, is only promoted by Pavan Kalan when he takes that jibe, and that they are playing politics in the name of Hindu gods and Hinduism. Listen in to the reactions.
இங்க நிறைய தமிழ் பேருக்கு இருக்காங்களா? தமிழ்ல சொல்றேன். தமிழ்நாடு ஒரு நாயக்கர் சொல்றாங்க, சனாதன தர்மம் கம்ப்ளீட் ஒரு வைரஸ் மாதிரி அது எங்க நாச பண்ணணும் சொல்றாங்க. இது ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கோங்க. Whoever said this, let me tell you, sir, you cannot wipe out Sanatana Dharma. I will tell you why. By the end of my speech, I'll tell you why you cannot wipe out Sanatana Dharma. If anyone tries to wipe out Sanatana Dharma, let me tell you, from the feet of Lord Balaji, you will be wiped out.
Pavan Kalan said Sanatana Dharma cannot be wiped out. Those who said it will be wiped out.
Okay, let's wait and see. Thank you.
Strongly condemn the comments made by Mr. Pavan Kalan. Today, Mr. Pavan Kalan is acting as somebody who is an agent of BJP. Literally, Mr. Modi is remote controlling Pavan Kalan. Mr. Pavan Kalan is acting at the behest of BJP party. He is acting like an agent and a double agent of the RSS and the BJP party.
All right, so attacks coming in not just from the DMK but also the Congress in Andhra Pradesh. You heard by Sharmila also calling him a double agent of not just the BJP but also the RSS. Let's quickly go across to Swastika Das, who's joining us live on the newscast. Swastika, give us a sense of the kind of war of words that has erupted. The DMK in its defense has been quick in rebutting, saying that they stand against caste politics, against caste atrocities and hierarchy, and they will continue to fight against it.
Well, Pavan Kalan has once again evoked the entire conversation about Sanatan Dharma, and even so vociferously this time around, where he campaigned in Tirupati and came up with a set of declaration demanding the constitution of Sanatan Dharma Board and Sanatan Act. He rained fire against Udayanidhi Stalin, who had compared Sanatan Dharma to a virus and said it must be destroyed. He said those who are saying these statements must understand that there will be one day that Sanatan Dharma will destroy them. Likewise, he targeted Rahul Gandhi, who had commented and likened Ayodhya's consecration ceremony to a Nachgana ceremony, saying that Rahul Gandhi expects Sanatan Dharmis to vote for him, while he goes on to make such bizarre and statements that deride those who are proponents and believers of Sanatan Dharma. And finally, he attacked Jagan Mohan Reddy over his secularism claim, saying it's a two-way street. You give respect, you take respect, and this is with respect to Jagan Mohan Reddy staying away or distancing himself not to sign the faith declaration form where he cancelled his visit to Tirumala, remember, in the wake of the entire controversy. So interesting set of dynamics playing out. Udayanidhi Stalin, the reaction that you played a short while ago, saying we'll wait and see, considering how Pavan Kalyan has now come forth and literally pushing himself as the poster boy of Sanatan Dharma, and it's only going to see a lot of heated argument that will take place between him and other leaders of the opposition also who have been targeting him.
Absolutely. Many thanks to you, Swastika, for putting that into perspective, because remember, as we were highlighting, it is not just the DMK now taking after Pavan Kalyan. We also heard how the Congress has launched an attack against Pavan Kalyan as well. On that note, let's also play out all the political reactions that have come in on this news story.
Yet again, Sanatana Dharma controversy has peaked. Now, Pavan Kalyan, the Deputy Chief Minister, has said that Sanatana Dharma will not be wiped out. Those who said Sanatana Dharma will be wiped out, they will be the ones who will be wiped out. How does the DMK respond to this statement?
I think the people who are in praise, in appreciation, in support of Sanatana Dharma in Tamil Nadu were wiped out. They had lost all the 40 seats in the state. So let Pavan Kalyan know as to who was wiped out from Tamil Nadu. And throughout India, they have lost their majority. And in the next elections, they will be wiped out. So maybe Pavan Kalyan wants BJP to be wiped out. That's what he might have meant. But Sanatana Dharma, I am asking the meaning of the word Sanatana Dharma to anybody. Nobody is willing to answer because they are afraid to answer. I am only asking one question. Does Sanatana Dharma say that all men are equal, born equal? In a democracy, every individual has the right to vote, has the right to education, right to employment. Then what is the meaning of Sanatana Dharma? My question is, I will accept Sanatana Dharma if the government of India prefers to bring in a legislation like what Tamil Nadu had brought in, that anybody, any human being can go and perform pujas in any temple in India.
Sanatana Dharma debate has once again escalated. Mr. Pavan Kalyan, Deputy Chief Minister of Andhra, said that Sanatana Dharma cannot be wiped out, and those who said about it, they will be the ones who will be wiped out. Do you agree with the statement made by Mr. Pavan Kalyan?
Yeah, totally agree. I totally agree. I endorse his views because very boldly he has stated that. And I also feel that this is a double standard practiced by the DMK. They will talk about Sanatana Dharma, but they will file all their nominations only on the auspicious day, and they will conduct all the programs only on an auspicious day. So this is a double standard. Just they are cheating the people. If they are really want to wipe out, they cannot do it because it is the culture intermingled with our life, and they cannot wipe it out. What is that? They were unable to wipe it out, wipe the dengue mosquito itself. There is more incidents of dengue. So he told, I will wipe it out as dengue mosquito. Even that mosquito is unable to wipe it out. Then how we will wipe out Sanatana Dharma? It's just words because we cannot believe them, and they are with double standards, and yet again they cannot cheat the people. Kalanger used to tell, why are you putting tilak? His blood is coming on your forehead, like that and all. They used to ridicule. Then when Raman, then we wanted about this bridge in the Sedu Samutram project. They told Rama in which college Rama had his degree, engineering degree, like that and all. They ridiculed, they humiliated, and they garlanded the chappal mala on our Lord Rama. These all things they were doing. So it cannot be pardoned. One day they have to answer.
All right, so the BJP vociferously taking up for Pavan Kalyan. We'll have to see how this entire controversy, in fact, shapes up in the days to come. But for now, it's time to slip into a quick break. Stay tuned to Nation at 5.
هذا العقاب آت حتما بإذن الله تعالى ولن نتحدث كثيرا فالكلام غدا لسيد
Welcome back. Now, a very unique form of taxation is currently plaguing the Himachal government. Ever heard of a toilet tax? Well, that is what the Himachal Congress government is being accused of imposing on the common people of Himachal Pradesh. It's being said that they issued a notification which was in fact to charge 25 rupees per toilet seat in every urban household, and that would be incurred upon the sewerage bill and would in fact be taken up by the Jal Shakti board. At the same time, the BJP has, of course, upped its ante with the Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman taking to social media platform X, where she's attacked the Congress party, drawing comparisons with Prime Minister Modi, who she said is somebody who's treating Swachhata as a movement. And here you have the Congress party, which is in fact taxing people for having toilets in their home. In its defense now, the Sukhwinder Singh Sukhu government in Himachal Pradesh has said that in fact such a notification does not exist because they rolled it back the day it was issued. Listen in to the reactions.
ये जो आदेश को लेकर भाजपा ने आपके ऊपर हमला बोल दिया है कि अब 25 रुपए जो है वो पर महीने टॉयलेट सीट को लेकर देना पड़ेगा।
देखिए, अभी तक तो कोई ऐसी बात नहीं है और कहाँ से ये खबरें लाते हैं। देश की वित्त मंत्री है, कौन सी नोटिफिकेशन को बात कर रहे हैं। कम से कम नोटिफिकेशन अपने ट्वीट करके देखना तो चाहिए। ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है हिमाचल प्रदेश में, और जो बात वो दिखा रहे हैं पता नहीं किस नोटिफिकेशन को दिखा रहे हैं। किसी भी एक्स्ट्रा टॉयलेट सीट पर कोई सेस नहीं लगाया गया। देखिए, जो आपके पास ऑर्डर है वो कौन सी कॉपी है, मैंने उस चीज़ की बात कही है। ऐसा हमारी कोई मंत्रिमंडल में कभी भी कोई पास नहीं हुआ। ये बात ज़रूर है कि जो फ्री मीटर थे, जो पानी के बिल, भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने हिमाचल विधानसभा चुनावों से पहले कहा कि जो भी पानी की बिल है वो माफ़ किए जाते हैं। उसमें 5 स्टार होटल थे, ओबराय था, ताज था, जितने भी होटल थे उनके पानी के बिल माफ़ कर दिए। हमारी कैबिनेट ने फैसला किया कि पानी के बिल जो प्रॉफिट मेकिंग इंस्टीट्यूशंस है और 100 रुपया पर मीटर के हिसाब से डोमेस्टिक के लिए लगेगा और कमर्शियल के लिए जो सुविधाएं उनको विड्रॉ कर लिया गया। ऐसा किसी भी प्रकार की जो सेस की नोटिफिकेशन जो है वो गलत है और गलत उसको बोला जा रहा है। ऐसा किसी भी प्रकार का एक्स्ट्रा टॉयलेट सेस कोई नहीं लगा है।
आज हिमाचल 100% ओपन डेफिकेशन फ्री हो गया है और मुझे बड़ा आश्चर्य लगा यार, सुबह सुनने को मिला कि सुक्खू जी को देखो उसने टॉयलेट पर भी टैक्स लगा दिया। इस सरकार की मति भ्रष्ट हो गई, बुद्धि भ्रष्ट हो गई। बोलो, पिछले इस कांग्रेस सरकार में भ्रष्टाचार बढ़ा है कि नहीं बढ़ा है? यहां भ्रष्टाचार बढ़ा कि नहीं बढ़ा? तो यहां इसी तरीके की अगर विकास की कहानी कहने लगे तो हम देखते हैं कि हर तरीके से आपको तकलीफ में डालने का काम कांग्रेस पार्टी की करती है।
21 सितंबर 2024 को मेन नोटिफिकेशन हुई थी, जिसमें कि रूरल एरिया में, अर्बन एरिया में किस प्रकार के चार्जेस लगेंगे उसको विस्तार से बताया गया था। और जो अर्बन एरिया है या यहाँ रूरल एरिया में, कुछ रूरल एरिया में भी जहाँ सीवेज जो है पंचायत डिपार्टमेंट द्वारा लगाई गई है, सीवरेज लगाई गई है, तो सीवरेज का जो चार्जेस होते हैं वो जो भी आपका पानी का बिल आता है उसका 30% जो सीवरेज का चार्जेस होता है। लेकिन कुछ जगह ऐसी इस्टेब्लिशमेंट थी, कुछ होटल ऐसी जगह थे, रूरल एरिया में भी थे, बाकी जगह में थे, तो उसमें जो उनका पानी का अपना स्कीम था, बहुत कम थे लेकिन उनका पानी का अपना स्कीम था, लेकिन सीवरेज जो थी वो जो है जो डिपार्टमेंट की सीवरेज को यूज़ करते थे। तो उसके जैसे बाकी लोगों को पैरिटी लाने के लिए, जैसे बाकी लोग 30% आपके पानी का बिल का 30% जो सीवेज चार्ज देते थे, इनके लिए क्योंकि ये पानी अपना यूज़ कर रहे थे तो इसलिए उनके ऊपर जो है पर सीट के हिसाब से लगाया गया था। लेकिन जैसे ही ये नोटिफिकेशन कर दी गई, जब फाइल उनको बाद में जो है माननीय उप मुख्यमंत्री साहब को ये फाइल गई तो उन्होंने कहा कि ये टॉयलेट वाला जो है देखने में ठीक नहीं लगता है और इसको विड्रॉ कर लिया गया।
हिमाचल सरकार का जो ये फैसला है जिसमें पर टॉयलेट सीट 25 रुपए आपको चार्ज देना है, इसको कैसे देखते हैं?
देखिए, अभी गांधी जयंती पर लगभग 10 साल पहले नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने हर घर में फ्री टॉयलेट की व्यवस्था हो, न केवल घरों में बल्कि चौक चौराहों चौपालों पर व्यवस्था हो टॉयलेट की, इसका एक बहुत बड़ा अभियान शुरू किया और वो अभियान सफल भी हुआ। एक तरफ मोदी जी पूरे देश में स्वच्छता को लेकर के, टॉयलेट्स हर जगह हों उसको लेकर के उन्होंने अभियान चलाया जो सफलता की तरफ बढ़ा। दूसरी तरफ कांग्रेस के नेतृत्व वाली जो हिमाचल की सरकार है, अगर टॉयलेट पर भी टैक्स लगाने में लगी हो तो इससे ज़्यादा असंवेदनशील, इससे ज़्यादा बेवकूफ़ी का फैसला नहीं हो सकता। इससे एक काम करना चाहिए, फिर पैसा आने के लिए हर घर पे जो है वो अपने एक एक एमएलए, एक एक मंत्री को बैठा देना चाहिए कि जो टॉयलेट जाए उससे पहले 1-1 रुपया, 2-2 रुपया, 5-5 रुपया वसूली। क्या असंवेदनशील बात है? ये तर्क नहीं, ये कुतर्क है। आप टॉयलेट पे टैक्स लेंगे, फिर आप कहेंगे कि जितनी बार टॉयलेट जाएगा उतने बार जो है सरकार को 10 रुपया दो। ये क्या है? ये तो इससे ज़्यादा बेवकूफ़ी नहीं, हास्यास्पद बात है।
और सरकार ने काफी सारे वादे भी हिमाचल में किए थे, बल्कि कहा था कि पानी फ्री, ये सब चीज। अब पानी पे भी अब 100 रुपए लोगों के ऊपर चार्ज है।
वादा तेरा वादा, वादे पे तेरे मारे गए बंदे। ये सीधे साधे जो हिमाचल के सीधे साधे बंदे हैं, इनके वादों पे मारे गए और कुछ नहीं।
All right, to put this entire controversy into perspective for us, I'm joined in by Pallavi Ghosh. Pallavi, two aspects to this entire controversy. A, how is this now panning out in terms of the political narrative when it's being contrasted with how the BJP is playing around it with the Swachhata mission? And of course, not to forget, is this again a reiteration of the ballooning debt that Himachal government is finding itself under?
Well, Akansha, the fact that the Himachal government had to kind of withdraw and issue a clarification goes on to show that they understand the kind of damage this entire toilet seat tax was actually bringing to them. See, it's a part of the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan nonetheless. And the second important fact is, it is something which has got to do with the basic rights and amenities of the people. And that is what the BJP was making a point. And this could have hurt the Congress a day before Haryana goes to polls. That the lofty promises made by Rahul Gandhi and by the Congress party means nothing, because at the end of the day, when they come to power, they are not able to fulfill it because of fiscal crisis. So that is one big reason why the Congress had to go into a damage control. And second issue, this kind of a clarification that there was no such tax which was imposed. It was only trying to keep in mind the water shortage and also to make people more accountable and responsible.
Many thanks to you, Pallavi, for bringing in all those inputs and putting that entire story into perspective for us. We'll have more breaking inputs awaiting your attention on the other side of a quick break. Stay tuned to Nation at 5.
Brought to you by
هذا العقاب آت حتما بإذن الله تعالى، ولن نتحدث كثيرا، فالكلام غدا لسيد المفتي.
Welcome back. In fact, we're getting in breaking inputs on the ongoing conflict between Iran and Israel. In fact, remember, Friday happens to be the day of prayers for all Muslims, and that is why Ayatollah Khamenei went ahead with a very crucial, pivotal speech today. And now CNN News 18, through its exclusive sources, has learned that Iran and its entire leadership is currently buckling under a lot of pressure to unite the entire Arab world and take a stance against Israel. We are in fact learning that Khamenei's speech is just an optics to consolidate Muslim Ummah support. Khamenei wants Muslim world and every Muslim, including Arab world, to join the war against Israel. He said that Iranian leadership is also under pressure from Iranian hardliners to act against Israel, and Iranian leadership knows its weaknesses right now. So as we all know that Iran happens to be on a very sticky wicket in this entire global conflict. On that note, let's quickly go across to Akash, who's joining me on the phone line. Akash, important to highlight the precarious position for not just Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei, but even in terms of the entire geopolitical scenario. We know that despite the defense capability that they have in terms of their own missile arsenal, they cannot really take that pushback that's coming in from Israel.
Right, and in fact, Akanksha, I want to highlight, these two incidents. In fact, the latest incidents, first one is, of course, the barrage of missiles that we saw going from Iran to Israel, and then the attack that was carried out in April. As far as impact is concerned, so not much has been seen as far as impact of these attacks, is concerned. And today's speech, as far as this intel assessment is concerned that we have accessed, in fact, this is an exclusive, report of CNN News 18, where we have, learned that how Khamenei's speech is just an optics, where he wants the support of Muslim community throughout the world. And, it is very evident that how Iranian leadership is under pressure as of now. Yes, they attacked Israel, and we saw the kind of developments that happened after that. Everyone is anticipating a sort of retaliation from Israel, and Iran knows it very well. As far as hardliners in Iran are concerned, so they very much want these sort of things, in fact, the escalation for that matter, and they want somewhere the victory over Israel. But practically speaking, the government somewhere knows, the leadership somewhere knows as to what are their weaknesses. And this is what this intel assessment is somewhere highlighting. In fact, the very points that he made, about Hezbollah, about Hamas, and, other forces that are considered as proxy of Iran. So it has been categorically highlighted in this, intel assessment that how, as of now, the speech was somewhere an optics to somewhere get the support of the Muslim community throughout the world.
Many thanks to you, Akash, for bringing in all those latest inputs. In fact, let's try and get in some more perspective. And for that, I happen to speak to Avi Yemeni, who is a far-right activist and also one of the leading podcasters in the world. He's also part of Rebel News. Let's listen in to what he says. In fact, he's also called out on the U.S. hypocrisy, not to forget how the United Nations has also had a very sort of biased stance when it comes to Israel, is what Avi Yemeni had to say. Let's listen in to this exclusive conversation. Since Hamas's slaughter of Israelis on October 7, violence has been spreading in Middle East. It's about to be a year now. How crucial is the use of force, especially against Iran? What's your hunch? Will Israel go for top targets in Iran, and what do you think are the possibilities?
Yeah, well, I absolutely think they will. They have to. There's no way they can let Iran get away with firing 200 ballistic missiles at civilians across the country. My mother messaged the family WhatsApp group, as the rockets are dropping and you can hear the explosions overhead, and she's just calling out to all her kids to pray. I don't think that's a reality that Israel can put up with. And I think after 11 months of rockets from their proxy Hezbollah and their successes in Lebanon so far, I don't think it's a question about whether they're going to strike back top targets. I think it's just a matter about who, what, when, and how.
Avi, there is this disturbing phenomenon across the world, including Australia, where there are marches being held eulogizing the martyrdom of Nasrallah. What's your take?
It's insane, isn't it, to think that marches being led by people who escaped those same, tyrannical terrorists from whether it's Lebanon, anywhere in the Middle East, whether it's Afghanistan from the Taliban or from Hezbollah in Lebanon or the Houthis in Yemen, wherever it is, all these people, even Palestinians who escaped the Hamas terrorists ruling Gaza, they've come around the world, to the West especially, for better lives, and then they're marching in support of the same people they ran away from. Remember, Nasrallah killed many more Muslims than he did Jews. He targeted Sunnis, and that's why the Muslim world is split over Nasrallah, because on one hand, the Arab world mostly all agree that they support his actions against killing the Jews, killing Israel, but he has a very checkered past within the Muslim community itself, because he's obviously a Shia, he's aligned with Iran, and he's done a lot of Iran's bidding and killed many, many hundreds of thousands of Muslims.
Good evening, you're watching Plain Speak with me, Poonam Burde. The Tirupati Prasad Rao has taken a new dimension. Andhra Pradesh Deputy Chief Minister Pavan Kalan proposed a Sanatan Dharma certification system to ensure the purity of materials that was used in offerings and in prasads across temples in India. While he was in Tirupati to conclude his 11-day penance, Pavan Kalan advocated for non-cooperation with any individuals or organizations that attempt to defame or incite hatred against Sanatan Dharma. Without naming DMK or Udayanithi Stalin, Pavan Kalyan said that Sanatan Dharma cannot be wiped out. The jab was inarguably directed at Udayanithi Stalin's comment that was made last year, where he likened Sanatan Dharma to diseases like malaria and dengue and called for Sanatan Dharma's eradication. Udayanithi Stalin's remark about that spawned a furious political controversy, especially ahead of the 2024 general elections, and those have now been brought back into limelight by Pavan Kalyan. The DMK was quick to respond. The newly